So welcome. Mm, Today topic is prefabricated building technology. So in this subject, we are four chapters we are covered in this ACT subject. So this is the fifth unit. So the fifth unit is prefabricated building technology. So the following are the topics we are covered in the prefabricated building technology. So the first topic is what is meant by prefabrication, and next alternatives of cast in situ structures. So what are the alternatives while the cast in structure is in cast in situ? So cast in situ structures. So next, what is meant by prefabrication technology and importance for standardization and modularization. So what is meant by standardization and modularization, and prefabricated structures explain their utility. So explanation of prefabricated structure and the utility of the prefabricated structures. So next, advantage of prefabricated structures. So what are the advantages for prefabricated structures, and state materials used in prefabricated elements, and what are the materials used in the prefabricated elements, and their suitability for various climate conditions. So for various climatic conditions, is there any suitability, or there is also covered in this chapter. And next, types of prefabricated structures. So what are the types of prefabricated structures? So these are the 7 topics we are covered in the prefabricated building technology. So the name indicates that prefabricated. So already manufacturing అయిపోయి, so nothing but in construction site, it will not be constructed at the site, it will be already manufacturing at the factory or manufacturing site, and then it will be the elements will be transported to the construction site, and then assembling or erected will be done at the construction site. So this is the prefabrication. So the practice of assembling components of a structure in a factory or other manufacturing site and transporting complete assemblies to the construction site where the construction is to be located. So where the construction is to be located, the prefabrication is the assembling components of a structure in a factory or other manufacturing site. So prefabrication building is the completely assembled and erected building. So it is a completely assembled and erected building. So in case of using the prefabricated structure, it will be assembled. So there is no use for that structure. So the prefabricated structure is not used, so it will be erected. So that is the easily erected and easily assembled prefabricated building. So the structural parts consist of prefabricated individual units. So the assembled prefabricated parts have assembled units or assemblies using ordinary or controlled materials. So here ordinary or controlled materials is used for the prefabricated building components. So prefabricated construction is a new technique. So this is a new technique or advanced technique, and is desirable for large scale housing programs. So prefabricated building is used for the large scale programs. Here the advantages of prefabricated wall panel. So for wall panel there is the advantages. So the first advantage is it can construct easily. So it can easily constructed, and it reduces the labor and manual cost. While reducing the labor, automatically material cost is also less. It will reduce the labor and material cost also. So next, easy to replace. So the prefabricated construction materials will be, so constructed elements will be easy to replace. So wall panels are decorative. So by using machines only assembling is done. So that's why the wall looking gets decorative and providing insulation and soundproofing. So soundproofing is also provided for the wall panels, so that is the advantage. So next, easy to replace. So it will be easy to replace, and it is a framework structure. So prefabricated wall panel is a framework structure. So finishing is easy. So finishing for prefabricated structure is easy. And next, resist weathering agencies. There is a temperature changes or weathering changes, so it will be so the prefabricated building will resist nothing but prefabricated wall panel will resist the weathering agencies also. So next, low maintenance cost. So there is a low maintenance for the prefabricated building structure. So next, it can save time and energy. So for prefabricated wall panel, it can changes, so it can save time and energy. So these are the advantages of prefabricated wall panel. So first advantage is it can construct easily, easy to replace, reduce labor and material cost, low maintenance, save time and energy, resist weathering agencies, finishing is easy, it is a framework structure, and wall panels are decorative, providing insulation and also soundproofing. So these are the advantages of prefabricated wall panel. So coming to the disadvantages of prefabricated wall panel, the structure is less used. So prefabricated wall panel structure is generally not used, so it is less used. So it is necessary to arrange for special equipments for lifting and moving. So for lifting and moving, it is necessary for special equipments. So for using special equipments, there is some disadvantages for the prefabricated wall panel. So that is the second disadvantage. So if not properly handled, the prefabricated units may be damaged during transport. So while transporting, handling is done perfectly. So if not done perfectly, the units for precast, so precast units will be damaged. So these are the three disadvantages of the prefabricated wall panel. So the first disadvantage is the structure is less used, and if not properly handled, so if not properly handled, the prefabricated units may be damaged during transport. So next, third advantage is it is necessary to arrange for special equipments for lifting and moving. So for lifting and moving, special equipments will be necessary. So these are the three disadvantages of the prefabricated wall panel. So what is meant by prefabrication and advantages of the prefabricated wall panel and disadvantages of the prefabricated wall panel. So next, alternatives for cast in sit structures. So what are the alternatives for cast in sit structures? So here the prefabricated structures is a cast in sit structures. So is there any alternatives for cast in situ structures? So the following are the some of the alternatives for cast in sit structures. So first is economy in large scale project with high degree of repetition in work excavation. So for work excavation, there is a large scale project with high degree of repetition in work execution. So in case of work execution, there is a large scale project, there is an economy. So next, special architectural requirement in finishing. So here there is a special architectural requirement in finishing. So at the finishing stage, special architectural requirement is used. So consistency in structural quality control. So here consistency in structural quality control is also there. So next, fast speed of construction. So fast speed of construction is also done. Constraints in availability of site resources. So availability for site resources, there is a constraints availability. So example, nothing but materials and labor. So at construction site there is a material and labor will be available at the nearby site or available at the site resources. So other space and environmental constraints, so here there is a space and other environmental constraints is also used. So next, overall assessment of some or all of above factors which points to the superiority of adopting precast construction over conventional method. So overall assessment of the above factors, there is a superiority of adopting precast construction over conventional method. So in case of conventional method there is a superiority of adopting precast construction in case of overall assessment of all the factors. So these are the alternatives for cast in situ structures. So the first alternative is economy in large scale project with high degree of repetition in work execution. So next, special architectural requirement in finishing and consistency in structural quality control and fast speed of construction and requires other space and environmental constraints. So material and labor resources, so material and labor resources is also there. So these are the alternatives for cast in situ structures. So what is meant by prefabricated technology? So what is meant by prefabricated technology? So principles, as per the AAMS, the principles of prefabrication technology is to affect economy in cost. So the first principle is to affect economy in cost. So the prefabricated technology, it will affect economy in cost. So the construction, while we are constructing a building or any other structure, the cost of the construction, so the cost of the construction will be economical. So the principle for prefabrication technology, it will affect the economy in cost. So for lifting or moving the prefabricated elements, special equipments are used. So that's why for using the special equipments, the cost will also get uneconomical. So it affects the economy in cost. Next, to improve in quality as the components can be manufactured under controlled conditions. So under controlled conditions, by using prefabricated technology, so it will improve the quality and components which are manufactured under controlled conditions. So under controlled conditions, it will be manufactured with quality. So in prefabrication of components, so in casting of components, it will improve the quality and controlled conditions. So next, to speed up construction since no curing is necessary. So no curing is necessary, so curing is not necessary, so that's why speed of the construction is done. So next, to use locally available materials with required characteristics. So locally available materials will be used. So next, to use the materials while possesses their innate characteristics like lightweight, easy workability, thermal insulation and combustibility, etc. While we are using the materials, so some characteristics will be possessed. So that characteristics are lightweight, so the material will be lightweight and easy to workability and having the thermal insulation and combustibility nature. So these are the 4 characteristics which are using the materials in the prefabrication technology. So these are the 5 principles for the for the prefabrication technology. So the first principle is to effect economy in construction and to speed up construction since no curing is necessary, and to improve in quality as the components can be manufactured under controlled conditions. So next, to use locally available materials with required characteristics, to use the materials which possesses their innate characteristics like lightweight, easy workability, thermal insulation and combustibility, etc. So these are the principles for prefabrication technology. So next, need for prefabrication. So what are the needs for prefabrication? So prefabrication structures are used for sites which are not suitable for normal construction method, such as hilly region, and also when normal construction materials are not easily available. So for precast construction structures, so these are the used at the sites which are not suitable for normal construction method, so which are not useful for the normal construction method. So prefabrication structures are used. So it will, example is the hilly region. So in case of hilly region, they at the hilly region normal construction method is not used. So at that case the prefabricated structures are used. So and next one is normal construction methods is not also easily available. So where normal construction materials is not easily available at that place, so prefabricated materials and prefabricated structures is also used. So at that places, so in case of hilly regions, the prefabricated materials and prefabricated component parts and prefabricated structures are used. So these are the first need for the prefabrication. So next, prefabricated structures. So nothing but PFS facilities can also be created at near a site, as is done to make concrete blocks used in place of conventional knick. So in case of conventional knick, concrete blocks are also used. So here concrete blocks is also prefabricated material. So prefabricated blocks, so already it will be manufactured in the construction site. So in a construction site, so our factory site, it will be already manufactured. So it will be transported to the construction site and then it will be assembled. So the second advantage is it creates a concrete blocks used in place of conventional knick and also at the nearby site. So next, structures which are used repeatedly and can be standardized, such as mass housing, storage sheds, godowns, shelters, bus stand security cabins, site officers, full over bridges, road bridges, tubular structures, concrete building blocks, etc. are prefabricated structures. So here some of the prefabricated structures are used repeatedly and can be standardized. So that structures are mass housing, storage sheds. So here the first prefabricated structure is mass housing, storage sheds, godowns. So storage sheds are used, so godowns are also used for storage purpose, and shelters, bus stand security cabins. So here bus stand security cabins is also used, and site offices. So for site engineers, site offices are used. So full over bridges and road bridges. So full over bridges and road bridges is also used. So tubular structures, concrete building blocks, etc. are prefabricated structures. So here tubular structures, concrete building blocks, etc. So tubular structures and concrete building blocks is also a prefabricated structures. So these are the needs for the prefabricated structures and some of the prefabricated materials. So the first one is In case of hilly region, if there is normal construction materials are not used, the prefabricated structures are used. It will be easily done. It will be done easily. So normally constructed materials are not easily available, and normally constructed method is not done properly. So at that case and at that situation, prefabricated structures are used. So prefabricated structures will be facilitated and created at near a site to make concrete blocks used in place of conventional knick. So in case of conventional knick, concrete blocks are used. So some of the prefabricated structures are mass housing storage sheds, godowns, shelters, bus stand security cabins, site officers, full over bridges, road bridges. So tubular structures, concrete building blocks, etc. are prefabricated structures. So these are the need for prefabricated structure and principles of prefabricated structures. So next, importance for standardization and modularization. So what is meant by standardization and modularization? So standardization is the creation and use of guidelines for the production of uniform interchangeable components, especially for use in mass production. So in case of mass production, standardization is the creation. So standardization is the creation for use of guidelines for the production of uniform interchangeable components. So here for uniform interchangeable components, in case of mass production, it will create a guidelines. So guidelines for the mass production. It also refers to the establishment and adoption of guidelines for conduct to global marketing. The term is used in describe the simplification of procurement and production to achieve economy. So this standardization, it will create a guidelines for the production, and also it will establish the simplification of procurement and productions to achieve economy. So these are the process in case of standardization. So advantages of standardization: easier in design and it eliminates unnecessary choices. So design will be easy and it eliminates the unnecessary choices. So first advantage of the standardization is it will design will be easy and it eliminates the unnecessary choice. And next, easier in manufacturer as there are limited number of variants. So as there is a limited number of variants, it will easily manufacture, easier in case of manufacture. And next, easier and quicker. So it will by using standardization, construction will be easier and quicker construction. So construction will be done fast and makes repeated use of specialized equipments in erection and completion. Use of specialized equipments in erection and completion. So in case erection and completion, standardization makes repeated and use of specialized equipments. So use of repeated and specialized equipments, erection and completion will be done. so easier and quicker, and the design will be done easier and eliminates the unnecessary choices, and limited number of variants is there for manufacturing. So these are the advantages of standardization. So factors influencing the standardization. So some of the factors influenced about the standardization. So the first one is to select the most reasonable type of member for each element from the point of production, assembly, serviceability and economy. So here there is a most reasonable type of member. So for each element from the point of production, so from the point of production, assembly, serviceability and economy, there is a most rational type of member for each element. So for each element at the point of production, assembly, serviceability and economy, it will select the most rational type. So the first factor influencing the standardization is most rational type of member is selected. So next, to limit the number of types of elements and to use them in large quantities. So number of type of elements depends on number of use of large quantities. So in case of large quantities, number of type of elements are used. So to use the largest size of extent possible, thus resulting in less number of joints. So in case of largest size of extent possible, so here largest side is available, so there is a less number of joints. So these are the third factor influencing about the standardization. So next, to limit the size and number of prefabricated by the weight in overall dimension that can handled by the handling and erection equipment and by the limitation of transportation. So limiting the size of the member, so it will reduces the overall weight and reduces the dimension and also there is a limitation for transportation. By limiting the size of the prefabricated member, it will reduces the overall dimension, weight and handling cost and erection equipment and lifting and also the transportation. So this is the fourth influencing factor. So coming to the next factor, prefabricates. So to have all these prefabricates approximately of same weight, very near to the lifting capacity of the equipment, so reducing the weight of the prefabricated element, there is a easy capacity of the equipment. So these are the 5 factors which are influencing the standardization. So the first factor is most rational type of member in case of point of production, assembly, serviceability and economy, and it limits the type of elements and to use them in a large quantities and reduce the in case of largest size of extent possible, there is a less number of joints and reduces the limiting capacity of the equipment. So these are the factors about the standardization. So advantages of standardization is easier and quicker, and design will be done easily and manufacturing will be done easily. So while manufacturing is done easily, there is a less number of variants. So these are the advantages and factors influencing the standardization. So what is meant by modular coordination? So what is meant by modular coordination? Basic module is in adopting the size of which is selected from general application to building and its components. So modular coordination is nothing but the adopting the size of the building component. So adopting the size of the building component. So here it will be denoted by the symbol basic module is capital M. So one module equal to 100 mm. So 100 mm is nothing but one module. So it is the international standard value. So international standard value for the module coordination is nothing but 1 m equal to 100 mm. So by coordinating the dimensional value, there is a basic module or multi-module. So basic module or multi-modular. The purpose of modular coordination. So the purpose of modular coordination is to allow the building designer greater to reduce the variant of component size produced. So the first one is it will reduce the size of the component and it allow the building designer greater. So by fixing the module size of the module, it will reduce the building designer greater. So design of the building will be done greater and component size, so size of the component will get reduced. So next, AIMS of modular coordination. So there is a major objective and specific objective. So what is meant by major objective and specific objective? So then what is meant by module and types of modules? So here there are two types of modules. So modules are a standard unit of size used to coordinate the dimensions of buildings and materials. So to coordinate the buildings, dimensions of the buildings and coordinates, module sizes will be designed. So that sizes are of two types. So first one is multi modules and second one is basic modules. So multi modules, so multi modules is nothing but the name indicates that there is a multi module. So multi ante number of modules. So whole multiples of the basic module, different single T-beam has resulted the beam to fall 2 basement down. The beam just placed for connection. So it will be starts from the connection which is in the shape of T-beam shape. So in case of different single module, the shape of the multi-module is T-beam shape. So next, the second module is basic module. So fundamental module used in modular coordination, the size of which is selected for general application to building and components. So the basic module will be used for the application of buildings and components. So next, modular coordination dimension. So dimension for the modular coordination is planning grid in both directions of horizontal plan. So in case of planning, so it will be done in the grid shape. So the first one is 3 meters for residential and instrumental buildings. So for instrumental and residential buildings, the planning grid will be 3 meters in size. So for instrumental buildings, 15 m. So m is nothing but module. So 15 module for spans up to 12 meters. So up to 12 meters, the size of the industrial buildings will be 15 module. So 15 m up to 12 meters. So between 12 meters and 18 meters, the modules is 30 modules. So for spans between 12 meters and 18 meters, the number of modules will be 30 modules. So over than 18, nothing but more than 18 meters, the modules will be 60 modules. So these are the plan grids in both directions. So for horizontal plan, The residential and institutional buildings, the size is 3 meters. So for in industrial buildings, for spans up to 12 meters, 15 modules is taken. For spans up to 12 to 18 meters, 30 modules is taken. So more than 18 meters, 60 modules is taken. So next, the center line of load bearing wall should coincide with the guidelines. So while designing the plan, the load bearing walls, so center line of the load bearing walls will coincide the grid lines also. So these are that is the important point while designing the planning grid for residential and institutional buildings and also the industrial buildings. So in case of external walls, the guidelines shall coincide with the center line of wall 50 mm from the internal force. So in case of external walls, from the internal force, there shall be the guidelines will coincide with the center line of the wall at 50 mm from the internal forces. From the internal forces, the space will be 50 mm, while guidelines will be coincide with the center line of the wall. So that is the second point. So next, preferred increments for still heights, doors, windows, etc. shall be one module. So for heights, sill heights, door heights and windows, so hill is nothing but plinth level. So at plinth level, doors and windows, the preferred increment value is 1 module, nothing but 1 m. So next, planning module in vertical direction. So planning will be done in case of horizontal direction, that is covered in the first point. So the third point will covers the planning module in case of vertical direction. So in case of vertical direction, 1 m up to including a height of 2.8 meters. So up to 2.8 meters, in case of vertical direction, it will be taken as 1 m. So 1 m is nothing but 1 module. So above the height of 2.8 meters, it will be 2 meters. So in case of height above 2.8 meters, the module can be taken as 2m. So in case of internal columns, the guidelines coincide with the center line of the columns. So in case of internal columns, the guidelines will coincide with the center line of the columns. So in case of external columns, the columns near the lift and stair wells and guidelines shall coincide with center line of columns in the topmost story, or a line in the column 50 mm from the internal face of the column in the topmost story. So internal columns, so in case of internal columns, guidelines coincide with the center line of the columns. So center line of the columns in case of internal columns. So at that time, in case of external columns, so for the external columns, it will coincide the guidelines. So near the lift and stair wells, the guidelines shall coincide with the center line of the column. So in case of near the lift and stair wells, the guidelines will coincide. So and next, topmost story or a line in the column. So in case of external columns, from the column it will coincide with the 50 mm for the guidelines of the column. So this is about the internal columns and external columns. So these are the some of the guidelines for modular coordination dimension. So the first one is planning grid in both directions for the horizontal plan. For residential and institutional buildings, it will be taken as 3 meters, and for industrial buildings, so up to 12 meters, it will be taken as 15 m, nothing but 15 modules. For spans up to 12 to 18 meters, it is taken as 30 modules, and spans over than 18 meters, the module will be taken as 60 modules. So for planning the horizontal plan, the center line of the building shall coincide with the center line of the guidelines and preferred increments. So in case of sill heights, doors, windows, etc., the modules will be preferred as one module. So in case of external walls, the guidelines shall coincide with the center line of the wall 50 mm from the internal face. So next one is, in case of internal column, the center lines of the column shall be coincide with the guidelines of the columns, and in case of external columns, the guidelines will coincide with the topmost story or line in the column of 50 mm. And in case of vertical direction, the planning module is one module up to end, including a height of 2.8 meters. So up to 2.8 meters, in case of vertical direction, the module will be taken as one module, and in case of height greater than 2.8 meters, the module will be taken as 2m, nothing but 2 modules. So this is about the modules. So in today class, what is meant by prefabrication and advantages about the prefabrication and disadvantages, and is there any alternatives in case of cast in situ structures, and what is meant by prefabrication technology and importance for standardization and modularization. So what is meant by module? So how many types of modules are there in case of types of modules? So these are the topics covered in the today class. So in next class, remaining topics will be continued in the next class. Thank you.